Hey everyone, I know I haven't made a video in a little while. As you know, I like to wait until I have something important to speak on. So I have someone with me today who is South African, and we're going to be speaking about some of the things affecting the youth in the Afrikaner, the Boer English community there, the youth as well as the older generation. A lot of things that people already know, but I think it will be some good insight, and I hope that the people will take something away from it, and that maybe we're able to reach some people. So I will start out by saying hello to my guest. Hello.
Hi, Brandy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I just want to open the interview with prayer first, if you would bow your head with me.
Sure.
Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also have forgiven our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. And we ask that the Lord protect this message, that it be heard, and everyone who listens discerns in their hearts, and listens very carefully about the message that's going to be given forth tonight. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. So I will not be saying a name.
It's a pleasure.
As everyone knows, for anonymity's sake. But I do speak to this person often, and I do have a lot of respect for him. I think that he is a very brilliant person, and he has a lot to say that's very important, and that needs to be heard. So with that, I want to start out by asking you specifically about anyone who watches my channel knows that your community as a whole is under attack, not only physically, but spiritually, your faith, the destruction of the church, the faith, your people's moral standards, the value system in general is under attack. So I wanted to ask you to speak on that a little bit.
So, referring to our spirituality, our value systems, and our belief being under attack, if you look at what has been happening in the last 100 years with the Afrikaans community, is that there has been infiltration from dark organizations, forces. So people call them Freemasons, people call them this and that, conspiracy theories. But the borderline is there has been infiltration into our churches and into our society as a whole. I mean, if you take it, we were a God-fearing nation 200 years ago, 150 years ago. Where our whole principle of our existence was to serve our Father in heaven and our Creator. And we made a covenant, to uphold the Lord's name forever in our nation. And, Brandy, it's sad to see that there's no more leadership from our churches. They're completely null and void in our society today. You don't hear of them, you don't see leadership from them, you don't see them condoning farm murders, you don't see them condoning corruption, you don't see them taking a stand of the evil and the atrocities that are happening in South Africa today. And the point being why that is happening is because the church has been infiltrated to destroy the faith we have as a nation in our Creator and in our God. You see it. I mean, people, the youth are lost completely. There's no more leadership. There's no more religious leadership, as we can say that. There are pastors that are doing beautiful work out there, but it's individually. It's split. There's no uniform, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
And it's destroyed our whole culture. It's destroyed the family. It's destroyed our aspects of life and work. It's destroyed our morals. It's destroyed our values. And that was the whole plan, was to get that done. And people are blind to see what is actually happening.
Right.
You know, even when I'm giving this message tonight and talking to you, I will be labeled as a conspiracist nut, because that's how people in South Africa are.
Right.
Everyone knows something better than someone else, and everyone knows, and each to himself, you understand? There's no uniformity, no one can agree on anything. And that's what I'm getting down to a point here is, we need religious leadership back in our nation, and the church has been desolated, as I've said. Now, if you look at the family, alright, so in God's word, as I understand, I'm a normal man, you know, I'm a sinner, I'm not the perfect person, I'm just a normal guy who's realized what is actually happening, and I've been praying and praying and praying for God to show me the truth. And He's given me the ability to read between the lines in absolute detail and not be fooled. So, let me getting back to the point of the family. So when you talk about the family, look in today's modern South Africa, how our families are looking. What's happening in our families?
Right.
It's divorce, it's cheating, it's abuse, there's no more teamwork, it's husbands going out Friday night, no, we'll have a braai, you know, instead of spending time with the family. Alcohol has become like the biggest influence in South African families.
Right.
They've replaced the beliefs with partying, with alcohol. They've replaced everything. Yes, as you were saying?
I was just saying, you know, some of the things that you're saying, just, I really realized that I don't see the leaders from the churches. I've never really thought about it before. I always wonder why I can't seem to get support from any leaders, you know, that have a platform to lead that people will follow, you know, and I often feel that the more doors that open for me here to be able to make a difference, the more doors close for me there. It's like one step forward and 10 steps back, and it blows my mind, but I haven't thought of it in the terms of the church, and it is very odd to not see this now that you mention it, because I would think that these would be the first men out trying to bring, you know, God back into the community, or trying to help the people, all people that are suffering.
Yes, 100%. And that's why I'm speechless to say, like, it's unbelievable that nothing's being done from a religious leadership point of view. They're completely quiet. There's no communication. There's nothing. So,
Right.
it's completely broken down the fabric of our society. And, you know, as I was saying about the family there, how God structures the family is, it's God first, then the man, the wife as his support vessel, and the children. And the husband's duty, the man, his duty is to lead the family to God And that's his sole purpose, is the family must be entrusted under God. And it's not happening. It's not happening, Brandy. You see families split apart. You see sex before marriage. There's no more morals. There's no more values. We don't keep to our own values. And that's why what is happening to us is we have allowed this to happen. We have allowed the church to fall apart. We have allowed the things that are happening in South Africa. It's us. And until the people realize that we are the responsible ones, then only things are going to change. Until people realize, stop pointing fingers, stop blaming, stop this, stop that. It's us. We allowed it. Now's the question. How did we allow this, Brandy?
Well, as you know, I have a soft spot when it comes to these issues with your people because I have a great ability to feel empathy where this is concerned because I realize what 25 years of trying to break your spirit, your soul, your mind, your livelihood, what that can do to people. And I believe that had a great hand in all of this. But you're definitely right. I mean, the people have to find their way back. I remember being told by a Jewish man that lives in Jerusalem, that you are also God's chosen people. But that until you turn back to God, that this will continue. Everything, all the suffering. And that hit me really hard because...
now that's where I want to get on to, yes.
Because who would know better, what it feels like.
100%.
And
so that's the point that I want to get on to. Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry, my allergies.
Say again.
I was just looking at, because I write down so I don't get sidetracked, but your people were raised, especially the older generation, with these values, that they held so close to their hearts. And now it seems that if things are just hanging by a thread. And like you said, there are struggles with addiction, where this didn't used to be commonplace amongst your people. It was rare. And there are cracks that are starting to show in these once very strong people. I mean, they were known all over the world for this strength, Countries sought them out to fight in wars alongside them, and after 25 years of this planned strategic, breaking of hearts and minds of your people, this is the effects, and, the cracks are showing.
And that's where we get back to the point where we have allowed this to happen. We've allowed addiction to take over our lives. We've allowed addiction to take over family members' lives. In South Africa, it's like when someone gets addicted to drugs or alcohol or stuff like that, he's left to his own devices in a way. There are a lot of families that have been torn apart by addiction. And the problem is people are so tired of the normal circumstances that's already in South Africa. I mean, South Africa, the life we're living is a traumatic life.
Right.
It's beyond reproach.
Right.
Without the addiction part already, it's a daily struggle for survival. I mean, let me just put an example. If you put a normal American community, as is now, boom, out of America into South Africa to live in and down this bombardment.
Yeah.
How are they going to turn out in the next 2 years?
I don't think they could survive it, honestly. I mean, I don't think I could. I don't know how I could handle that. we're conditioned to safety.
So, so we're already traumatized, and now you've got addiction in. Now you throw that evil little gremlin in there, and the family's just split. Boom! It's like a bomb,
Right.
and the whole family structure falls apart. Husband beats wives, wives beats husband, then they beat the kids. Then you see these horrific stories where they kill the children, and oh no, it's I can't even mention the stuff they do with the kids. I mean,
And there have been,
it's horrible.
like, I don't have an exact number, but, a lot of suicides from the men.
100%.
And I've been told,
Yes.
it's because they feel they failed, their family or their community, or they just couldn't take it anymore. Whatever it may be, it's a hopelessness that it's hard to understand how.
Well, I agree on part of that.
Get to that place,
Randy, as you can say, how someone will get to the place, like going on to back to the addiction and the suicide part, it's all part in one.
Right.
When you see a drug addiction in South Africa, you see, because of the work in economical circumstances, people don't find work. So what do they draw into? They draw into things that comfort them, all right? But they're not drawn to what needs to comfort them, and that's what the aspect of missing religious leadership needs to fill that gap. So instead of them turning to God to comfort them and reassure them, they turn to drugs and alcohol, substance abuse. And I mean, there's 14-year-old girls, 8-year-old girls even, Brandy, that are on these drugs, hooked. They are being used in these prostitution dens, and it's not reported in anywhere. They don't report these things.
Right.
They keep it quiet, and they pull out these kids out of these drug dens. And I mean, if people are listening to this, and some of them have ever seen what a real drug den looks like, if you've seen hell on earth, you go look at a drug den. It's traumatizing to see what you see inside there. And now you have this aspect of, you've got all these murders on top of everything, the drug addiction, now you've got farm murders, now you can't find work, you've got financial pressure, your marriage is falling apart, your relationship is falling apart, kids don't know their parents, parents don't know their kids, and people snap, especially among the men, because the men feel that they don't have the means to fix the situation.
Right.
They don't know how. They don't know how to protect their families. And once an attack's happened on a family, they feel that they've completely failed.
Right. And I can understand.
I mean, I don't want to picture putting myself in the shoes of a man whose wife was just raped in front of him.
I mean, how?
His children beaten and mutilated. I cannot picture. If he survives, that's the thing. If he survives that ordeal, that already alone would want you to be dead.
Survival would be worse than death for me.
Yes. Yes. Because remember, they force you
to
watch
yeah.
what they do.
I know this well.
And that's just one aspect of suicides. Then you have the economical situation where people don't have work. Now they're in debt because we have been entrapped into a debted society due to trying to survive. I mean, it's not like where you have countries like Finland and Denmark and Iceland and those example countries where they have state medical, state school education, state pension funds, state work, and they've got community service where if you qualify for a government grant, you need to go and put a certain amount of hours back into the community, but at least there's something supporting you.
They work.
That's not
for
happening in South Africa.
Right. In South Africa.
Due to policies.
Yeah. A white engineer, can't even get a job as a street sweeper. That's it.
Exactly.
No sense. And it's to the...
So that's where I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where those policies that have been put in place to prevent you from getting that job. You are the qualified person, but sorry, due to merits, you don't qualify for the job. Now that guy needs to pay a house bond. That guy needs to pay medical bills, medical aid for his family. That guy needs to pay education for his kids, food, clothing, electricity, water, and the list just goes on. Car finance, insurance, and everything. And you get taxed on everything.
Your people pay about 90% of the taxes.
Yes, that as well. On every product you buy, you get taxed. On your fuel, you get, you get the road accident fund, you get the fuel levy tax, and now you've got this new carbon tax that they've introduced. So they tax us literally into debt, starvation, poverty, everything. Is like you get so entrapped in debt, you do never get out of that bubble. And once you cannot pay that, you lose everything. And that also contributes to the high suicide rate.
Which are all factors of genocide from the framework of analysis, I would like to point out. Everything that you just said.
It's forced economic terrorism. Straight. Forced economic terrorism. And it's not the government that's only doing that. If you look at the bigger picture, this goes around the whole globe. You see the same pattern in every country.
It's big companies.
And that's what people need to realize. Yes, exactly. They know exactly what's going on. You've got corporations controlling everything. You've got corporations that control your whole life. The media controls your life. You've people sitting on your cell phones 24/7. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, great platforms, but it's an addiction. That's how they mind control you. And people stray away from actually reading their Bibles and learning who their Creator is. Instead of learning who God is and trying to find out who God is, they stray to what comforts them in a human way. You understand?
I understand. So you just answered what was going to be my next question. And that was, I was going to ask you about the effects of not being able for the youth to be able to join the military as they used to be required to do, which is a good thing. It teaches discipline. It teaches respect. It makes men out of boys. And obtain jobs, and more importantly, to have their basic human rights stripped away slowly to a point that your own government does not protect you or have your best interest in mind. And I was going to ask you if you thought it's torn the very fabric of your people's cultural identity and affected the morals and values of the youth today, but you already answered that. So I would like to ask your thoughts on the youth, not being able to serve in the military as the older generation were required to do. And do you think that's affected society somewhat?
100% it has affected society. Look, there's a lot of South Africans that state that they did not want to go to the army, but I forgot the word now, but they were forced to go, and it was against their will, but they had to go. But anyways, beyond that, the Afrikaners, South Africans in general, the country has a very violent and rich military history past.
Right.
I mean, we were founded by trading companies, and from the get-go they had to protect themselves. It's from the get-go since they first landed in the Cape. You had to protect yourself, and you had to create means to protect yourself. And the Afrikaners have a very rich and pride in their military history. And me as a kid growing up, I was like one of the last generations born out of the 90s, and people can now realize how young I am, but it's irrelevant what your age is. I remember stories of my dad telling me how when they first started in the army and what they went through and how they got pushed and how they got chased around and the training they did and the stories he told me as a kid, and all I ever wanted was to follow in his footsteps and be and serve in the military and serve my country and serve my nation.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now, there is so many of us as the youth, young men that wanted that. We wanted to serve in the military. We wanted to make our fathers proud. We wanted to follow in their footprints.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them. A lot of the young guys of the last 90s generations, 80s, 90s generations that grew up in the 90s, that actually went to other countries to go serve in the militaries because it's in our blood.
Right. I've had so many tell me that they wanted to serve in the military, that they wanted to go to the army, but they are not wanted. And I find that so horrible because everyone should have the opportunity to serve their country.
And
if
it's not just that as well as that you're not wanted, Brandy. The fact of the matter is that the military has been so degraded in standards. The South African military has been so degraded in their standards that you do not want to serve there.
Right. Because
you do not want to be affiliated with it. You do not want to be affiliated with that. And I mean, the living conditions in the barracks are beyond ripple. It's disgusting. There's been some videos and photos last year or beginning of this year showing how the barracks look. I mean, even in our police stations, the police barracks, they live in absolute filth. And young men don't want to be part of that because we have pride in ourselves. We have integrity in ourselves. We don't fall down to those type of standards. And that's also is the fact that you say we're not wanted. The lower standards in the military and the police force and any force has also, prevented young men from choosing to go. And it's not all men, that there's a handful of them that have actually gone to the military. Now, I know a personal few of them, and they actually went in there and served fully with their hearts, and they just wanted to be part of that.
Yeah.
And the way, as you say, we could not be part of that we were a lost generation. Our fathers went there, our uncles, their uncles, their brothers, their fathers, they all served in the military. A lot of women also served in the police force and military. And they were outstanding soldiers and policewomen.
Yeah.
Really outstanding. And the problem
to fight for it.
Exactly. But what that did for them is that created unionship, sisterhood, brotherhood, camaraderie, and our generation lost out. We missed out on that. We don't know camaraderie. We don't know brotherhood. We don't know sisterhood. I mean, the youth today is so lost that one guy will not help another guy, in such a way. There's a lot of good people out there, don't get me wrong. And I'm not judging anyone or anyone to judge, but the majority of times I feel that Afrikaners don't want to help each other, South Africans don't want to help each other. It's rather, you know what, your crap's your crap, I've got my own crap.
And if you don't,
I'm not going to help you. You understand? And that's the type of society that would come.
But if
Yes.
you don't
And there's a lot of backstabbing
Oh,
there's also a lot of backstabbing in our communities.
I had to find this out the hard way because I didn't.
There's a lot of backstabbing in our communities, yes.
Well, let me go on to my next question. Since we spoke on the issue of the military, so you are part of that younger generation. So we just found that out. Being punished for injustices from a time before you were even born.
Yes. Don't even get me started on that.
I would actually like to hear your thoughts on this and solutions to some of these issues. If you have thoughts on this, I myself, I've spoken to you at length on many of these things, and I think that you are very intelligent and have some great points. And I'm hoping that people listening today will open their hearts and minds to truly hear your message. You know, it was put upon your heart to speak out. So will you tell us in what way this was made clear to you and why it's so important for you to reach your people as well as any other people around the world?
Okay, so the one night I was sitting on my bed and I just watched an interesting documentary on YouTube. I don't even remember the name. It's my time to go to bed, put off the light, went to sleep. I got a dream. It was a very vivid dream. And there was a clear message that was just given to me. And the funny thing is I often don't ever dream. And this was very weird. So the message stated that, you know, the following, in order for us as a nation to go forward, in order for us to understand what is going on with us, why is this happening? Why is the world silent? Why is no one intervening? Why are there so many murders? Why is all this death and destruction and absolute evil happening around us? And in the dream, I was told to go and read Deuteronomy 28. So, remember that point I told you? We go back now to the point where I told you that we allowed everything that's happening with us.
Yes.
So, when I started reading Deuteronomy, it clicked that, and you know, remember there's that old prophet, old Siener van Rensburg as well. A lot of people are going to stone me for using that name because it's a big controversy under the community.
I know, but I've read the book, and I don't believe in prophecy generally, but there are a lot of things that cannot be ignored.
Well, irrelevant if you believe in prophecies or not, but when you read the old sinner's book and you actually see everything that was given to him in visions, it's either been fulfilled, is being fulfilled, and is going to be fulfilled. And if you believe in it or not, you cannot deny the fact that it is actually happened and will happen.
It blew me away.
So, old sinner talked about one point there specifically. So I'll get back to Deuteronomy now so people don't get lost. I just want to get this point in there. Is that he continuously hammered in his visions, in his messages, he stated a lot, is that until the day that we turn back to God, we will not get help. So, why did he say that? So now we go to Deuteronomy, alright? So, remember God always, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm open to criticism if they want to criticize. There's no problem. That criticism is always constructive in one's life. the Israelites made a covenant with God through the Abrahamic covenant and his offspring and with Moses and all that stuff. So God gave them rules to follow, all right, his laws, the 10 commandments, and all the other laws that you have to follow. And the Israelites, now and again, they broke those laws. And then what happened to them? They got scattered into the desert. Their temples got destroyed. Jerusalem got sacked. They got scattered all over the world. In Afrikaans, we say, alles in ballingskap gestuur. So that means the scatteredness.
So, my last question for you is that, you are part of the younger generation, being punished for injustices, from a time before you were even born. And I would like to hear your thoughts and solutions, if you have any, on these issues. I've spoken with you at length on many of these things, and I know that you are a very intelligent person, and I'm hoping that people today will listen and really open up their hearts to hear your message. So it was put upon your heart to speak out, and I want you to tell us in what way it was made clear to you and why it's so important for you to reach out to your people as well as anyone around the world in what you think needs to happen to help.
So on that question, we go back to the part you say how it was given to me to give forward the message and how I came to realize that there is a simple solution for us there's only one way for us to be able to fix what's going on and to help ourselves and to survive, is that we need all the groups, the leaders in South Africa, all the different groups that we have currently. And I've got a list here of those groups that we need. Just give me 1 second here. So the following people. So my solution is as follows: is that all these leaders, all these guys from the different groups.
So we're going to speak to them directly.
Okay, sorry, I keep losing connection.
I said, so we're going to speak to them directly.
Yes, we are going to speak to these groups directly. So my solution is as follows: is the solution was given to me in a dream, and I was basically given instruction to say as the following: is that the following groups need to decide if they are for the youth and for the rest of us, or if they are against us. And then the way they are going to show how they are for us or against us is for all of them to put their differences aside. No matter how you feel about the following leaders, what your perception is, what your opinion is of them, it doesn't matter. It's because we need leadership. The youth needs leadership. We are lost. We have no one that can lead us. We don't know what to do. And that's why I call on the following groups to make a plan, to get to meet each other in person, sit and talk and discuss the way forward for us. And amongst yourselves, if you cannot stand each other, if you cannot agree with each other, please find a common ground. Select and elect a leader between yourselves. Elect a leader to lead us. Make a drive for everyone in South Africa to follow this process of election. We need a leader. And the outside world is not going to help us until we select a leader. Because we need one guy to be our voice. And he, this chosen man, must lead us back to God. He must bring everyone back to God. It's time to leave the braais and focus on your family. It's time to leave the alcohol and focus on your God. It's time to leave the pubs, the concerts, and go back and have church at your house on a Sunday in your community. Honor the Sabbath, go back to the laws of God and follow the commandments. And the following groups need to meet each other. It's Toekomsfonk with Steve Hofmeyer and Wessel Basson, Boer Legioen and Isaac van Zyl, FF Plus with Pieter Groenewald, Front National, Zuidlanders and Simon Roach, Gustav Miller, and then USAF with Rodney Bartman and Brian Dalton, ULA, Cape Exit Party, and Transvaal Agricultural Union, and all the old military generals that used to be in our military, that used to be the leaders of these men, the generals that our fathers looked up to, that the last generation who were in the military looked up to. We need them all to come together. Put your differences aside and come to a conclusion on how we are going to go forward. There's a lot of you guys and these groups that are doing amazing work. But by being an individual group, you're only going to come so far. And unless we as a nation conform in unity, and yourselves as leaders conform in unity, you're not going to make this. And we need to get back under the leadership of a God-fearing man who will lead us back to God. And that's the message that I'm giving out tonight.
Wow, I think that that was a great message, and I admire you for being brave enough to come and speak out and speak the truth. And I know that I'm an outsider, but you see a lot from the outside looking in, and the lack of leadership is so apparent. I mean, it is, I can see it all the way from here. So I think that that message is 100% correct. And I don't know if it's a possibility, but if people could just try, the people do need a leader. They need someone to rally behind, someone to be their voice, someone brave enough and strong enough to carry the weight that, you know, others cannot, and to be their voice, you know, to the world. And I think that this is an amazing message, and I really hope that some of these men will hear this and they will have it on their hearts to do their best to make a difference, you know, for the sake of the younger generation who desperately need this lead by example, you know, to teach them this brotherhood and this unity, you know, that they didn't get to experience, you know, in the military and stuff. So I really hope that this message is heard, because I think it's so important. And I thank you.
100%, Brandy. And I just want, as a last message, I just want the leaders just to remember, let's leave politics. Let's leave politics aside and let's have one goal. And that is just to get back to our Creator and our Father God. And that is our main focus, is we need to draw the nation together and not fight amongst each other, because that's the last thing we need at this stage. We can't continue as is anymore.
Right, and if nothing changes, nothing changes. And something just hit me is that some of these men, you know, I have had contact with, and I have a lot of respect for. And if you can't find common ground,
a lot of respect for a lot of them.
Right. I mean, so much respect. And I hope that if any of them hear this, that they realize that this was made and said with the utmost respect from both of us. But if you can't find common ground on anything else, I know they all agree with what you said about leading the people back to God. I know that. There's your common ground right there.
And if they have true conviction in their hearts as God-fearing men, they will understand exactly what I'm talking about. They will feel that urge gripping in their chest, and they must go down on their knees and pray. And just pray and pray for the Lord to show them the correct way forward. And listen to the message, please. I am begging. We cannot continue as is. You have children, you have grandchildren. Think about them. We are all speaking about the future for these generations, but at this stage, the way we are going, there is not going to be a future. And if we do not do what I said in the message, I'm not forcing anyone, but this is what was given to me to give to you. This is the only way that I can see we fix things. And if we don't do this, our children, our children's children are going to be lost for eternity without any hope or culture or leadership. They'll never know their God. This is the last stand. This is the last fight.
You made me cry. Thank you. But, so...
Sorry about that.
It's just, I agonize over this, and just to find a solution, something, anything. And this is a great start, if possible. So we will end here, and maybe later on we'll do another interview to speak further. But I want to thank you for coming on and speaking and, telling a very private story, but it's very important for people to hear. And it's been a pleasure talking to you as always. And I also would like to say, of course...
Thank you very much.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Brandy, just finish up there.
I just wanted, the last thing I wanted to say was to all of the old generals and the military men, to Isaac Van Zyl and the Boer Legion, and to Rodney Bartman and USAF, and to Steve Hoffmeyer and Toekomsbank and Wessel Bassan. I, as an American, have so much respect for all of you guys individually, for everything that you do, for different reasons. And I just hope that you will take this message into your hearts, because it's put out with the utmost respect and love only. And I know that all of you are godly men. So I want to thank anyone who did take the time to listen, or who does. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you for having me, Brandy. It was, it was heartfelt to send this message, and I honestly hope people will spread this message, and people will jump behind this and push this forward. And I really, this is what I want to see forward happening.
Yes. I thank you very much, and you have a wonderful evening, and I'm sure that we will speak again soon.
You too, Brandy.
Bye-bye.